located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health, heard every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, and fascinating health topics. And of course, where we always encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, you enjoy hearing anything about her, I'm sure, and especially when we have an opportunity to bring the home girl back. Today we're going to do just that with a good friend of ours, many, many years in the making. Personally, I've just cherished my relationship with her also. Her name is Deborah Ray, and you know her all too well. Deborah has written a book. She told us she was going to write one. I think the one we thought she was going to write, we'll ask a bit about it, isn't the one she wrote. She wrote a book entitled Harmony, and she wrote it in collaboration with two physicians. We're going to find out more about those physicians and about the book called Harmony, Spirit, Body, and Mind, Achieving Good Health by Learning the Lessons of Balance from Science and Faith. Going to come right back with Deborah after that first break today. To get into the spirit, to get into fruit of the spirit, because that's in fact the company that sponsored this book, I'm pretty sure. And we've been promoting Fruit of the Spirit since Deborah brought it to us initially, probably coming up close to 8 months ago. So today, Deborah Ray spending the hour with us. When we are with her and you would like to ask a question or make a comment, the number, of course, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, our calendar is building up. I have some phone calls to make today to add some additional guests on for the remainder of the month. The month is clipping away, is it not? I thought I'd pull this one up because it caught me off guard. I got this off the Mercola site. I didn't realize that they say, and here is the directive, Johnson & Johnson recalls children's Tylenol and Motrin. Lord knows those products are used quite a bit. Let me just read you the byline. This is dated May 1st out of Reuters. The U.S. FDA has urged consumers to stop using liquid Tylenol, Motrin, Benadryl, and Zyrtec medicines for children and infants. Johnson & Johnson has announced a broad recall following the discovery of manufacturing deficiencies that could affect the quality, purity, and potency of the drugs. The FDA has also warned that consumers should not give adult-strength medicine to children instead, as this can result in serious harm. So according to Reuters, some of the products affected by the recall may contain higher concentration of active ingredients than specified. Others contain inactive ingredients, may not meet the internal testing requirement standards, and others may contain tiny particles of I don't know what. It's not mentioned here, but keep in mind this Johnson & Johnson company was quick to, back in 1982, the famous cyanide murders with Tylenol, and Johnson & Johnson sprung into action, and everybody thought this company was doomed. Their response was so stellar, this company came back stronger, all the more stronger than one would have ever anticipated, and so they run roughshod over their assembly line, and they're saying not to use their products for children right now. I'd say take their advice and do so. The moment I hear more about this, I, of course, will bring it back to you. Also want to mention really enjoyed on Friday, bringing you that bit. It was new information for me concerning the use of vitamin D, having so many now newly found ways that it helps in the body. I was not really surprised, but in a way I was surprised to find out it literally has a blood pressure effect physiologically, and that it acts as its own ACE inhibitors, ACE standing for angiotensin converting enzyme, which is the enzyme that allows the conversion of angiotensin 1 to angiotensin 2, which is a vasoconstrictor extraordinaire in the body, really used for serious conditions that the body might find itself in, for instance, shock and hypotension and things like that, hypovolemia. Yet to find out it's a natural way that you can control blood pressure, I think, is the interesting message that I hope I brought to you on Friday. Those of you who may not be familiar with our show on Friday, I encourage you to dial up the show, go to the website, re-listen to the show. Quite a bit of information was given out on Friday on the use of vitamin D, and I'm saying vitamin D at its optimal levels. And of course, I've mentioned to you in checking vitamin D levels as I have. With the many patients that have come to my office, I've had 4 to 5 patients only with normal to above normal ranges, and everybody else way under the limit. And so you can't be surprised with that because of the position of Pittsburgh geographically. We're just too far away from the equator. Everything gets worse. I'm talking about medically. The further north you move away from the equator, and so the sunshine vitamin certainly isn't helpful to us, especially between the months of September to May. We're just sort of emerging on the good side of the sunshine vitamin story as we move now into the month of May, and direct sunlight is now possible in the Pittsburgh area. They say 20 minutes of unobstructed direct sunlight. That means you can't be putting the goop on, as I think everybody in medicine would have you do. 20 minutes of direct sunlight. They say SPF of 7, which I don't even know who buys an SPF of 7 for protection from the sun's rays, the UVB rays. But the use of an SPF of 7 will block out 99.9% of all UVB rays, and consequently, even though you may be in direct sunlight, you will get no vitamin D stimulation from that exposure. 20 minutes of just direct skin sunlight, and after that, you cover up, and really, it doesn't matter what SPF level you use after that, you get as much as 20,000 units of vitamin D from that 20-minute exposure. It's just a phenomenal amount. So, I recommend you hit the website, so to speak, to learn more about the issue of using vitamin D in your just standard daily regimen, and get the bonus and the benefit of lowering your blood pressure through the ACE inhibition technique. There's an entire category of pharmaceutical grade blood pressure medicines called ACE inhibitors. They all end in the suffix called pril, P-R-I-L. Some of the more well-known ones are lisinopril, enalapril, captopril. There's some stealthy ACE inhibitors that don't have pril on the end, but nonetheless are ACE inhibitors, like Vasotec, Lotensin, Zestril, Altase, Capitan. If you have high blood pressure, if you are on blood pressure medicine, especially if you're on an ACE inhibitor, hope the message came across loud and clear to you this past Friday. Enjoyed bringing it to you. Questions, of course, will be fielded at any time by you here on the air. All right. Now look, when last we spoke, we were brought a message about a unique product that Deborah Ray put the full force of her reputation behind. I had never known her to do so, and the fact that she had done so pretty much startled me. It's now many months later. We've grown accustomed to the product and the message. Of course, the product's called Fruit of the Spirit. The message has been a strong one These 13 biblical fruit parades, well, I'm sure we'll get back into it. Anyway, Deborah Ray returns with us in a moment to discuss the next natural offshoot, of course, which was to write a book. We get hundreds of copies of the book, by the way, if you just come by, and we'll be happy to give you a free copy when you do stop by the office. Anyway, be back in a moment, and we'll have Deborah with it. You don't want to miss it. Be right back.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. We become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Honey, just got the word. The company's new health plan has a $5,000 deductible. We have to make sure nobody gets sick this year. Remember what those doctor's visits cost from last year's colds and flu? Oh, sorry, I've got to go. Love you.
We can do this. We can cut the fast food lunches. Soda, that's a lot of sugar. We can all take that evening walk. And hey, I heard a program about fruit. Fruit of the spirit. What did they say? 1 ounce, the equivalent of 5 servings of fruit with herbs and minerals. We could add some to our breakfast protein shake. Fruit of the Spirit's unique whole fruit puree. Fruit of the Spirit contains fresh fruits native to the Holy Land and alkalizing minerals from the Dead Sea with no added sugar. Fruit of the Spirit's unique product from 5 years of work from science-based nutritional experts. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, convenient, affordable, and delicious. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back once again to AIM Impact on Your Health. Heard here in KHB 620 each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney with you today on this Monday version of the show, and I know you've been waiting for it. Of course, when last discussed and last met with this young lady, we were exposed to a complete new line of product. A product, by the way, that emanated from, the Dead Sea. It emanated from biblical passages called the 13 Biblical Fruit Parades. The message was strong. And since that time, we keep on utilizing that message and taking our fruit of the Spirit each and every day. It was nice enough to hear from Deborah doing radio spots since that time. But we knew that Deborah, putting the full force of her reputation behind something like she had never done before, was special. Yeah, it was special. It was so special, it's led to the writing of a new book called Harmony. Deborah's here to talk about it with us today. Let's say good morning and welcome back, favorite gal.
Morning, Dr. Courtney.
Oh, Deborah, you're going to have to speak up. You sound so far away. You got to get closer to that phone. Are you there?
We'll speak up.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, please do. Deborah, yes, that was true. A number of months ago when we last had a chance to speak with you, you brought to us a product that, was unique simply because you had never done that before. That product was called Fruit of the Spirit. Since that time, we've lived with you, we've grown with you with this product, we've become comfortable with it. You evidently even became more comfortable with it. In fact, not only the full force of your reputation behind it, all of your knowledge started to back it up too by writing of a book called Harmony. Take us through how that evolved, how it came to the point where you just had to write about it.
Absolutely, because a little over a year ago, I was approached by the folks at Fruit of the Spirit through a very good friend of mine here at Christian Television Network, which has its national studios right here in the Clearwater, Florida area. And Arlene Rippey, who is the host of Homekeepers, which is a syndicated television show, said, gee, I've been approached by these people. You know, the product sounds interesting. I certainly like their goal to be able to give back to fund missions and Christian schools and messages to spread the word. Would you take a look at it? So I took a look at it and said, gee, you seem to have done your homework. I talked with all the formulators and people who have done the clinical studies on it. But thanks, no thanks. That's just something I have never done in 46 years. I wish you well. I'll help you in any way I can, but just no thanks. Well, they wouldn't take no for an answer. I flew out to California, actually saw in one of the 2 facilities around the world where you can flash pasteurize in less than 10 seconds in a closed system. It's like being in NASA, for the Spirit being made. And over the next year, it has translated to an opportunity to share that message. And the science was such that, we need to put this in a book form. We need to tell the entire story, because as you tell people on a regular basis, Dr. Courtney, it's more than just a pill, just a diet. It's a whole lifestyle approach, and that's what Harmony is all about.
Harmony. We did, I think, hear from you the last time we spoke that you were going to write a book. I don't think this is the book. I was talking to you about, I think, the many different writings you have of Don Carreau. And someday, maybe you will write that book, but at the time, that's the book you were talking about. Then all of a sudden, the gears got switched. Do I have it right?
Well, the Complete Cell Makeover that I have written with Dr. John Young is being edited. It's in the works in terms of the publisher, and as well as the story of Talk Radio's Medical Maverick. That has been written and has been edited, and we're going through.
Oh, so you wrote 2 books in the meantime.
Yes, I did.
Boy, you have been a busy beaver. Okay, so today, let's concentrate a bit on Harmony. And you mentioned Dr. John Young. In fact, first question I want to ask you is, and you're in collaboration with 2 medical doctors. One, at least I'd spoken to on the phone, and seemed like one heck of a guy. You had mentioned how you have worked with Dr. John Young in the past. There's a new doctor's name. I don't know her. I think it's her, Aida Reyes. How do you end up collaborating with these 2 physicians?
Well, Dr. Young was one of the many physicians 7 years ago now when I was sitting in that medical office on that Monday morning, crying, realizing I had a medical practice to run and no medical doctor. And a friend of a friend said, hey, I know Dr. Young is an emergency room doctor, but really interested in a more holistic approach. He's done considerable work in South Africa. He has an interest in going beyond just the pushing of the prescriptions and the procedures approach. And it was through Dr. Young that I was introduced to Dr. Aida Reyes, who is a physician, a family practitioner trained at Boston University. Again, one of those practitioners who said, I need more tools to help help my patients. And he does a lot of bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. So for the past 2 years, I work a couple days a week in their office with them, with the patients. So it was a natural collaboration because they really embody this harmony approach with Fruit of the Spirit, with making sure the patient's diet is balanced first and foremost, as a way to reestablish that harmony with the patient, and find in so many cases, we don't need to treat the headaches. They've gone away by themselves. Their back pain is better because it all comes back to that harmony approach, that nourishing of body, mind, and spirit, Dr. Courtney.
Yeah, the meld of the 3. I mean, the term harmony, and to put in harmony these 3 aspects of humanity here, spirit, body, and mind. I've heard the three coupled so many times in just casual conversation, yet you delve back and you get these three aspects of humanity once again. The message here has got to be that these aren't trite words. This isn't trite terminology. This is the essence of your being. Is this maybe how you mean to say it? Because the emphasis here is to put the three in harmony. We've heard that done in a trite way before, but this puts a different spin on it, at least as far as I can see it.
It does. It's one of those. The answers are there if you're looking. And I picked up the Wall Street Journal earlier this year and saw that amazing article about bone strength, that it was all about pH balance. And it's like, oh my goodness, this has become very much mainstream because we think in terms of bones, it's going to be making sure that we get our calcium and our minerals. And what they found, it was the people who were most eating fruits and vegetables that alkalized their pH, in essence creating the harmony within their body, balancing the pH that created the strongest bones. And as you and I have known, in our on radio and educating people over the years, you can't just define anybody by their blood test results. It's not just a matter of making sure that your stress is monitored. It's that harmony of body, mind, and spirit. And balancing pH really fits into that whole message of harmony, not only for creating strong bones, but it's what we find in Dr. Young and Dr. Ray's practice. It helps to reverse that insulin resistance. So patients that are pre-diabetic or already type 2 diabetic reverse once you put these principles of harmony into clinical practice.
Well, certainly you have taken, and we will explore, because you spend an inordinate amount of time in your book on the body component where you move directly to pH balance. And so we'll get back to it, but let's sort of kick it off with how you kicked it off, talking about the spirit issue first. And the word balance is inordinately used over and over and over again. Describe for us who now read the book, talking about nourishing our spirit and understanding God's plan. There's a divine influence that you introduce almost immediately. The spiritual comes in almost immediately, and putting your life in balance. Talk to us a bit about this balance.
Dr. Forty, we would ignore historically that model is there for us. That balance of body, mind, and spirit is available in God's Word biblically. No matter what our particular religion is, that historically we have that balance. That's not only what we can see and experience physically, but if we ignore the fact that when we are able to achieve good health, it's more than just focusing on a cholesterol reading or a blood pressure or a blood sugar reading. That stool always has three legs, and we find biblically, that concept of balance, thousands of years ago. We'd be so remiss not to mention that two of the three legs of that stool of good health are spiritual and emotional health. Only one of the three legs is physical health. Of course, these days, you can go to any bookstore, read any newspaper or journal or lay home medical journal in the magazines and read about physical aspects. So we forget that it's a balance of spiritual and emotional as well as physical health. That's only when we're able to achieve that harmony. So, we failed to start out without giving credit where credit is due. In other words, this wasn't something that we ran across and somebody discovered, somebody won a Nobel Prize, although many of these concepts have won Nobel Prizes in medicine. It's all about that balance that was described spiritually in God's Word so many thousands of years ago.
And this spiritual connection, this strong spiritual connection that you felt from the moment you got involved with the Fruit of the Spirit company and the Fruit of the Spirit product, because I'd never heard of a discussion about a product that brought a biblical and divine intervention literally to the product itself. So talk to us a bit about, once again, this product called Fruit of the Spirit, a melding of biblical fruit purees, of Dead Sea minerals and the like, because you went to great lengths. They went to great lengths in producing a product that was strongly rooted in the spiritual, in the biblical, and they did so for a reason, did they not?
They did, and that was part of, convincing me to change my no to a yes, because I had the opportunity when I went to California to see how they formulate and actually make and package Through the Spirit, to meet Craig Keelan, who was a former banker, very passionate man, very passionate about his health, and very meticulous about taking all the steps that he possibly could to eat well, to exercise, to mind what was going on with him stress-wise. And he literally was sitting in church one day and just felt this calling that he had to formulate a product that was devoted to giving back to the Christian audience. And having been on television for 2 years on Christian Television Network, I saw a lot of people use, to be real clear, we use religion to sell products when there wasn't any science behind it. And I was just amazed, because it was like, gee, here was an opportunity to really reach an educated audience who had a hunger and really do a good job and have science behind it and make a good product. And when I started to look around, that had never been done before. And Craig was of the mind, put together formulators, took 5 years, and used special water from the spring that has unbelievable mineral content from Central America, the borax content of Fruit of the Spirit. And he just did everything meticulously right, knowing that this was something that he had been called to do. And it just resonated with me and all the people that I've seen use it. My mother uses it.
Oh, God bless her.
Say it works for me.
Craig Keelan, founder and CEO of Fruit of the Spirit. I'm looking at a picture of him, young guy. I mean, this, he looks like a youngster. My goodness.
But was just convinced that if he was going to do this, he was going to do this and do this right, only from science, from a quality basis, but he had a real calling, so that a good percentage of each bottle of Fruit of the Spirit goes back to funding Christian missions, to Christian schools, to be able to educate people that it's more than just physical health, it's spiritual and emotional health as well.
And he went out and found. We had this gentleman on our air before, who you must know very well, Dr. Mark Peterson, the guy who the guy who formulated it, I guess.
Absolutely, he was the key formulator, along with many other PhDs and MDs and researchers. But Dr. Peterson has a vast knowledge of herbal medicine as well as product formulation. When we take a look at the science through Dr. Pedersen's research of things like myrrh and frankincense, of course, frankincense being boswellia, one of the best researched anti-inflammatory herbs out there. It's like, oh my goodness, this is pretty amazing, because it again went back to that ancient spiritual message, but there was science to back it up.
Yeah, because we've all heard of boswellia. I just never knew that it was synonymous with is it myrrh or is it frankincense? Which one?
Boswellia is frankincense.
It's frankincense.
Right.
So, I mean, really, the biblical reference to frankincense and myrrh, the wise men and bringing gifts and so forth, really, the biblical, it's so entrenched in the Bible, yet to find out it's an herb that we've heard about that's been used for centuries in other cultures. Well, that was very enlightening to me. I think it really helps to bring home the message that you're trying to get across, which is this link to the spiritual, this link to the religious, the biblical, and the like. And so then you marry whole fruits plus minerals plus herbs, and voila, you've got this product called Fruit of the Spirit.
Sure. Of course, if you go back to the original garden in terms of fruits and vegetables and nourishing our bodies, again, you get that original message that we need to get as many fresh fruits and vegetables that we can on a daily basis. All too many of us don't get it. We need to get adequate protein. Finding our spiritual and emotional health is really what's going to create that harmony, whether it was thousands of years ago at creation or living our daily lives today.
Okay, so let's move on. I think this is a component that our listeners will be very comfortable with because it's something that you brought as a message, Don brought as a message, I bring as a message every single day with respect to balance, and that is pH balance. And when it comes to the body component, you went and took off on a whole tangent on balancing pHs, getting the alkalinized component in line with health. Take it away, Deborah, and talk to us about why you focused in on that one component and how, by focusing in that component, you feel that that's the easiest way to get this message of harmony across.
Start to read that the work of the true medical mavericks, the people like the Dr. Abram Hoffers and the Linus Paulings and those great medical physicians and researchers, all of them ran across the fact that you start to really shift your diet. And we have undergone, you talk about technology moving things faster and faster. Well, it was like this aha moment, the head, hit me in the forehead when I had the opportunity to interview Dr. Walter Willett. Dr. Willett is head of the Department of Nutrition at Harvard University. Great position in terms of need to be mindful of taking vitamins and minerals, really strongly based in clinical nutrition. And he's a master of public health as well as being a medical doctor and a teacher there at Harvard. And he said, what was the most significant development in medicine and nutrition of the 20th century when Time magazine did its seminal issue for, the new millennium, January 2000 issue. And Walter Willett said, we changed the fats in our diet. And it's this whole balance, biblically it was olive oil, but we went to the trans fats, the heated fats, because we could extend shelf life. We all learned. I had the opportunity years ago to interview Dr. Lyndon Smith over and over again. I loved his examples. The shelf life of a Twinkie was literally 25 years, and I researched it, and he was right. It was 25 years because it contained these hydrogenated fats. So when we start to skew our diet with hydrogenated fats, with sugar, with soda, Dr. Alan Gaby's work that you could put a baby tooth in a cup of any of the major pop brands, and it would dissolve overnight because it had the pH of battery acid. It's like, oh my goodness, what have we seen in America since we've become the fast food nation? In the 50s, 60s, the 70s, now into 2010, we have dramatically shifted our diet and thereby subtly shifted pH. Not only do we now have type 2 diabetes, fastest growing group of which is the teenagers. Yale University tells us about heart disease to 15-year-olds, but we start to see bone health in teenagers look like people in their 50s and 60s, all because we shifted that pH balance. So if you can come back to something very simple without trying to treat all the symptoms, you find that pH is kind of at the center of this, because it forces you to really look at the basics of your diet, and everything kind of flows from there.
So you take the information, which I had not realized was espoused by this Dr. Willett. I mean, what credentials, huh? Head of the School of Nutrition at Harvard. Oh my goodness, where he emphasizes, and to us would be certainly no revelation, but I think to medicine might have been at the time, 2005. Eat a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. Eat no bad fats. Eat good fats each day. Eat grains. Add activity. Supplement. And then, if you did all that, the pH is going to swing around anyway. You just sort of hitched up the two. Did he make the point about the pH, or did you just figure that was the next point to raise?
When I had the opportunity to interview him, after he got up, you've already mentioned it, that conference of nephrologists, kidney doctors in Philadelphia, I said, hey guys, if we just do these simple, basic bullet points, we just ran through them, we could prevent and reverse 83% of all heart disease, 90% of diabetes, at which point Dr. Bob Rizzo, who was then the president of the American Diabetes Association, said, no, Dr. Willett, you're wrong. It's not 90% of diabetes. 95% of diabetes could be prevented or reversed with this approach. Dr. Willett told me, in fact, when he published this data in the New England Journal of Medicine, he talked about how this would balance pH, as well as create an anti-inflammatory effect, because that's baby boomeritis. We are all in a state of inflammation, whether it's arthritis, whether it's insulin resistance, whether it's the inflammation of the brain, the Parkinson's, the Alzheimer's, and dementia, and that's where balancing pH, as well as getting some of the good fats in your diet and adequate protein, comes in to create that harmony, Dr. Portman.
Take a moment, because the majority of our listeners are probably already up to speed on what pH is, but for those who might not be up to it, describe how you view pH as a layperson, but certainly a knowledgeable one, and then how it is actually easily measured and literally can be measured every single day at home.
Well, I'm glad you said at home, because I'm the one who lost the kitchen counter. I think I stopped counting at 6 over the years, because my late husband, Dr. Carreau, thought in terms of chemistry, was a research chemist for Arco Sinclair before he went to medical school, had a chemistry lab before I agreed to build an addition to our home. Our kitchen served as the chemistry lab, and the kitchen counter took the brunt of that. Just simple pH litmus paper that we can buy, and most every pharmacy, sometimes you have to go to the compounding pharmacies that carry the old stuff, but indeed that hydrogen potential, pH, hydrogen potential, the more acidic being the lower the pH. So we want, for example, our stomach acid, even though the advertising message is to demonize acidity, but we have to have that balance of low pH in our stomach and the higher pH, the more alkaline pHs, 7 and above, as our food goes through our digestive system, to keep that pH of our bloodstream in balance. So we see great books written over the years. I've had the opportunity to interview a number of these authors that we want the pH of certain body fluids to be in certain ranges, because it's all about creating that harmony, that balance, so the pH of our bloodstream stays in that alkaline range, so our bones stay strong, yet our stomach has that all-important acidic pH to keep the bacteria in a certain balance in our stomach, so we don't have overgrowth of things like H. pylori or Candida or other pathogens. But it comes back to that pH harmony, that our bodies are just this wonderful, we can see it every day. That's how real pH is to our good health.
Now you could check your pH through dipping it in urine. You could check it through saliva. How do you recommend to check it?
Well, those are good indirect measures. the most accurate measure, and I say this from experience because when I got out,
Yeah, you're the lab lady. You're the gal.
I was a rotating second shift because when you got out of college, you were at the bottom of the run. So I was a rotating second shift lab at Norton Children's Hospital in Louisville, where the second shift lab techs were assigned to do arterial blood gases. So you learn to draw arterial blood gases. You go to ICU and CCU and the pediatric ICU and draw these arterial blood gases and come back to the lab. And pH was one of those measures. So that's the gold standard. But to get an arterial blood gas sample drawn is
pretty cumbersome, pretty uncomfortable too.
So, urine, saliva are indirect measures. But of course, it kind of speaks home to me because I was in charge of doing the CO2 levels, and at Norton Children's Hospital in 1975, you did CO2 levels with a top Nadelson manometer, which is nothing more than a mercury column with a stopcock that leaks. So over 3 years, I developed mercury poisoning. Of course, that was my aha moment. But it was all about being able to monitor pH, because what these physicians knew for patients in ICU, CCU who are critically ill, or newborn babies in intensive pediatric ICUs, that if they didn't keep these patients' pH of their blood in that ideal alkaline range, they were likely to develop acidosis and a lot of metabolic problems. So keeping that harmony of pH balance is critical, whether it's a patient in ICU, CCU, a newborn baby that doesn't have fully developed young, or just you and me in terms of maintaining good health on a daily basis.
What level of pH should we want to bring it in at? Because this is scale 14, right? 14
is the most alkaline. 1 is the most acidic.
Right.
You want to kind of keep it right there in that middle of 6.5 to 7.5. So it's kind of in the balance, the harmony of that alkaline pH.
And and obviously, what you eat determines where your body pH is going.
Absolutely. Of course, all the great approaches, over the years, interviewing Kenny Ossibel, who wrote, When Healing Becomes a Crime, the Fitzgerald Commission back in 1952, that the AMA admitted to congressional hearings that there were dozens of proven ways to address cancer, and many of these, whether Gerson or the other approaches, all dealt with the fact that you had to balance the patient's pH to be able to optimize their health, to be able to fight even terminal diseases like cancer, Dr. Courtney.
Well, we're certainly on footing that's very familiar to myself as well as everyone who listens to us. Why don't we do this, Deborah? Let's give you a chance to take a little break. We'll all take a short break. When we come back, maybe talk about some of those foods that are most acid-producing, the ones that are least acid-producing. And also talk to us a bit about this fruit of the spirit and how most of the listen to us will be able to get some of that stuff. Okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, folks, you were with her. Yeah, she wrote the other book too. Hey, who figured she was writing too? We're going to be back in a moment with Deborah Ray talking more about harmony and how to stay in harmony, body, mind, and spirit, and pH, especially with respect to the body. Be back in a moment with Deborah Ray.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asked you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation has delivered 5 fresh servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce. That's right, it's Fruit the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith. Let Fruit the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugar. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning and welcome back. We're here on a Monday morning on KHB 620 and enjoy bringing to you, well, famous people. The first in a long list of the famous ones we'd love to always bring to you. Good favorite daughter of Western Pennsylvania, gone to help other people in a big way. Came to us first, bringing a message of Fruit of the Spirit, now brings us the message of balance in a new book called Harmony. Of course, she's Deborah Ray. We're talking about how to get the pH in balance, to get the body component into its best balance. Deborah, you were mentioning you want to get between 6.5 and 7.5 on the pH, and what you eat will determine where that goes. What are the things you should be staying away from? What are the things you should be staying towards?
Well, it's pretty simple. You don't really have to take the book along with you because it goes back to what you and I learned around our grandmother's kitchen table. Honey is a great way to sweeten and do it in alkaline fashion. The processed sugars, the artificial sweeteners, are ways to use that pH all too acidic. Fresh fruits and vegetables, great ones. Keep it more alkaline. Of course, there's so many reasons to eat more of a plant-based diet. You have to have protein. And the good news is, the proteins like whey protein are slightly alkaline. But it basically comes back to if it's not, it's what Dr. Carlson Frederick. We had the great good fortune to bring him to the Tampa Bay area back in 1980. And he said, shop the perimeter of the grocery store. And once you get inside with all those labels and processed food, you can't pronounce chemicals. If you shop the perimeter of the grocery store, you're going to eat the food that God made, we haven't messed with, and it's much more likely to be more alkaline than acidic, Dr. Courtney.
Well, we won't get into the laborious list because you do get into quite a bit of specificity on what foods are the more healthy, which ones aren't. Let's just say we've got copies of this book, ladies and gentlemen, we're willing to give to you. Give us a call, stop in to see us. The book is called Harmony, Spirit, Body, and Mind, and How to Put Things into Balance. Let's move, as we get into the gun lap portion of this show, Deborah, into the mind component. You mentioned that you nourish our minds to live in optimal health. Mind over matter, and you immediately get into a discussion of placebos and sometimes how effective placebos are in actually resolving symptoms, which really I think is your point of making how important mind is in the overall in terms of making sure where your health comes in.
kick myself, to be able to live in a time where, through online access, you can find all this research, to have health heroes, to be able over the years to meet and interview Dr. Bob Mendelsohn, Dr. Linus Pauling, Dr. Abram Hoffman, Dr. John Goff, all these health heroes who, Dr. Linus Pauling, one of his lab associates was Dr. Landsteiner. I was in blood bank for years. Dr. Landsteiner, the Landsteiner blood typing. These were guys that wrote the textbooks that I learned from that knew this all along. So it's just been amazing to know that this research is out there, that these health heroes, practitioners on the line, just like you, Dr. Courtney, they have this conviction to go beyond the current medical model, which is all too often likely just to address the physical things, just to address the test results, because it's the ancient principles of harmony that serve us well. Lo and behold, now Tufts University, Harvard University is saying, you were right, you don't balance pH, you're not going to have strong bones, because it was people who ate the most fresh fruits and vegetables that had the strongest bones. People who ate the highest calcium didn't have the strongest bones. Interestingly, because again it goes back to pH, people who ate the most sugar, because it's the most acidic, are the ones that had the weakest bones. It's the science backs this up, Dr. Courtney.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Taking well-known medical concepts, bringing them to us in a product. This product is what kicked it all off a number of months ago with you, Deborah. Fruit of the Spirit, what? 13 biblical fruit purees. The list is so lengthy. The alkalinized minerals, the key on alkalinized minerals from the Dead Sea. Herbs, even throw a little resveratrol. I don't know where that comes in out of the clear blue sky. But this product called Fruit of the Spirit, just an ounce or so in the morning gives you, what, up to 5 servings from the ORAC testing component, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Go ahead, Deborah. Talks about that product.
Right. This is equivalent to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, just 1 ounce, just 2 tablespoons of Fruit of the Spirit. Because all too many of us, on a daily basis, if you stop to take a look at, we really need 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. No, you can't count ketchup.
Yeah.
Without salsa, we come up short. So here's a good way, with a quality product, to get more fruits and vegetables, get more nutrition, and thereby just naturally more alkalize your blood by just that 1 ounce of Fruit of the Spirit each and every day, Dr. Courtney.
How well, because there's a number of months now when we first learned about Fruit of the Spirit, it was just emerging, really just sort of coming out. It's now many months later. How's the product doing countrywide? I'm guessing it's moved to a number of other places other than where it had been at the time.
We are working with talk show hosts just like yourself all across the country. We have clinical physicians who use it in the practice on a daily basis. Dr. Craig Keelan has set up what he calls a Through the Spirit Angel program that those of us who are trying to get the word out, he sends this product on a weekly basis and says, give bottles away, spread that message, because what we hear back from people is, oh my goodness, I don't have that inflammation like I used to, sleeping better, I don't have trouble controlling my blood sugar. So just getting that message out is not only helping clinicians at my local church, helping others with Christian school projects, helping practitioners to help their patients do it in a simple, practical fashion. It's high quality, it's got good science behind it, it's affordable. It's just a matter of got to put all those together to create harmony with our own budget, our own health these days.
Gotcha. By the way, for those listening out there, the number to call if you want to order some, first of all, come in the office, have some on us. We got a number of bottles for the purpose of allowing you to try it. I think that's the dangerous part, huh, Deborah? Because I don't ever remember anybody saying that they thought it was a disgusting tasting product. It is tasting so good that I think you get unfairly just hooked the moment you try it. The number 1-800-442-3793 to order that product. A product which, interesting enough, went down in price since we talked to you. Didn't go up in price. Now, that's a unique thing to have happen, is it not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, really.
Smarter ways to work so they can help more people.
Help more people. Also, if you're techie-minded, you can go right to the website fruitspirit.net. That's fruitspirit.net. One of either of the two ways. Don't forget to stop by and get your free copy of the book called Harmony, the one we've been talking about today. And with the remaining minute or two we have yet to go, I just got to ask you about the other book that you just casually mentioned at the beginning of the show, the one that when we last spoke, we thought that was the one you were going to write. Well, you've written two, but talk to us a bit about that book that's coming up from all the writings of Don Carreau. You got all those little pieces of paper put together. You and Dr. Young sat down on taking it, and the book is going to be called what? And when is it going to be available? Which for sure means when we got to bring you back.
Well, book, the one that I collaborated with Dr. Young, Complete Cell Makeover. The editor, Beth Shulman, has that now, so we should see that about September time. And then the one when I went back and cleaned out offices, empty books, and found notebooks and little legal plans. Dr. Carreau's writing, and it's Talk Radio's Medical Maverick. His story about how somebody who had that chemistry mind, who believed that the red flag was being waved when he was told that just forget what you're doing, renounce all this chelation therapy and all these vitamins and minerals, and we'll find you a job in anesthesia. Was the true medical maverick, far enough ahead of his time to suffer for it. So it's a lot of his basic information and some of the brilliance of the magnesium citrate and all those great stories.
And that's going to be available when?
That will be available by the end of September as well.
2 books. Oh my goodness, folks, we got to bring Deborah back. Deborah, they're sounding bongos in the background, which of course means we've come to the end of our show today. It's always a pleasure to bring you back home, young lady. Thank you so much for allowing us to invade your morning. Thank you so much for just doing what you're doing. And we'll be in touch. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney with Deborah Ray saying so long for AIM Impact on Your Health.